I'm Thomas, the export director for the winery. I used to be a winemaker as well. I had the opportunity to work with Marcelo, but I'm not the main man here. It's Marcelo. He's the artist of the winery. So I will try to explain what we have been doing in the last years, which is the philosophy of Marcelo, especially through the CA project that we will review in a few minutes. So Marcelo, say hi to everyone. Well, let's start. We will do a brief introduction of the winery. First of all, TerraNoble started in 1993. At that moment, some wine lovers, they decided to do a special project of wines, and they asked to some quite famous winemaker at that time, like Felipe Solminiac, for instance, or Alejandro Hernandez, to find the best place to make Merlot and Sauvignon Blanc in Chile. And these guys, they went out and they found a special place here in Maule, where we are today with Marcelo. This is the main state of the winery today. So after 1 year, the Carmenere, as you probably all know, the Carmenere was rediscovered in Chile. So at the same time, the winery switched the objective or purpose of this project, and they tried to push the Carmenere and be a leader of Carmenere here in Chile. So in 1998, they launched the first Carmenere Gran Reserva. Then we planted the Los Lingues vineyard, which is the place where we grow today CA1. One of our farm of CA project is there in Los Lingues, close to the Andes Mountains. Then in 2006, Mr. von Appen, he took the company, and he leads the TerraNoble expansion, not only internationally, also in Chile, trying to find the best places to make wine here. So at that time, they decided to do or planted some vineyards in Casablanca. Actually, is the coldest part of the valley, in a specifically place that we call Las Dichas. Then we planted Los Cactus also in Colchagua. So we have two states there in Colchagua Valley. It's one close to the Andes, and the other one in Marchihue, closer to the ocean. In 2009, they decided to do something special with Carmenere. Here is, I think, is a very important point of our history, because TerraNoble decided to put the Carmenere in another stage, in another level. So they decided to do this CA project. One is with focus in the Andes, and the other one is focused in the Costa side, or close to the coast of the country. This is what we are going to review today, specifically. I think it's very important to mention here that through more than 10 years working with Carmenere, the winery decided to do something special. After 10 years of experience with the grapes. So, well, then we have other things like the winery is certified sustainable, and we are working now in a vegan certification. So in terms of our vineyards, as I mentioned it, we started in Maule Valley, which I can say today is hot in terms of a lot of journalists are looking for wines from Maule Valley and also in the southern part of Chile. Then we have Colchagua and one of them in Casablanca Valley. So here we start with the focus of this small webinar or presentation in terms of talk about the different styles of Carmenere after 25 years working with this grape. I think it's important to mention that we have been walking through this evolution since we practically made wine with unknown grape until today, with absolutely differences of styles or expression of the wine. So if we go in terms of the history of the grape for Chile in general, and also for us, of course, we can say at the beginning, all the wines were marked by pyrazines, marked by green notes, right? Which was quite impressive because it was something different for Chile at that time. Then we start to feel a bit afraid of these notes. So we moved the picking time or the harvest time to the end of the season. So at the end, we got overripe and opulent wine, mainly managed by the harvest time. Of course, the reaction of the people, customer, journalists, and everyone was, this is too much, is too much overripe wines, it's too much wine inside, too much structure inside, etc. So then we think the next step in this story is the winemakers in Chile, they start to put the wine inside of new oak, trying, I think, this is my impression, to cover the pyrazine notes mainly. So you, at the end, they got more stronger wine, even with this toasted notes from the barrels, from new barrels, etc. So then I think, or today, after 25 years, we are getting the best expression of the wine, of the grapes, actually. I think more, if you come to Chile and you taste Carmenere, most of them are more to the fresh side, to the fresh fruit, trying to show, at least from our side, the typicity of the grape, working with high acidity as well. So the freshness is something important today. I think is completely different. Still, you have some green notes, of course, because it's part of the essence of the grape, but the freshness and the acidity is completely different. We need to think we already have 25 years planted in Chile. So with the time, the plants, they got some balance, or the right balance to express the right, or the best expression of the grapes. So in conclusion, we have 25 years of experience and knowledge. As Marcelo always say, we are working on this grape. We have 25 years ahead as well, working with the grapes, finding new things, etc. So the viticulture and winemaking are in process of evolution continuously. But also it's important, the terroir hunting concept, I think, here with the Carmenere. I have, through my story in different wineries, I have a classic story when I was with viticulture looking for places in Chile, and you were in so many different places, and always they say, this place is for Carmenere. And you walk for another corner of the valley, and he said again, this is for Carmenere, this is for Carmenere. And today, at least here in TerraNoble, we found two small places where we can show the best expression of the Carmenere in different ways. Not only to express the Carmenere grapes, also to express the terroir. So in this sense, we have a CA project. You can find here CA1. CA1 is close to the Andes mountain, and CA2 is close to the coast. So if we go more in deep in this concept, you can see the CA1 is located in the foothills of the Andes mountains, in Los Linges place. Then in the CA2 case, the state is located in the middle of the coastal mountain range, in a corner there, with a very special terroir, I can say, or soil. You have there the influence from the Pacific Ocean, as well as you have the influence from the Andes mountain in the CA1 place. In between, we have 70 kilometers. 70 kilometers. Okay, it's not a huge distance, but it's enough in Chile to have a big differences between both. So here you have a picture of Los Linges in Colchagua Valley. This is Colchagua Andes specifically. And then you can see in the back of the picture the Andes mountains, of course. Here it's a picture of Lolol, where the state of CA1 is located. And you can see the presence of the clouds there. We have a lot of influence from the ocean mountain, the ocean, the Pacific Ocean, sorry. So every morning it's mainly covered by fog. So at the end, the temperatures during the season are a bit lower there. So here we are we have more specific things about both wines. We have CA1 and CA2. But the main thing to comment here, I think, is how it is each state. In the CA1, close to the Andes Mountains, you have 375 meters above the sea. In CA2, we are in 120 meters. Then in CA1 place close to the Andes, we have a large thermal oscillation during the season if we compare with the CA2 location, because as I expressed before, you have there the influence from the Ocean Pacific, right? And then it's also important to mention the style of the soil. In CA1, close to the Andes Mountains, the soil is more deep. You have more presence of organic material there. Also, the presence of clay is strong there in CA1. And then in CA2, in the coast side, the soil is with presence of granitics, and also you have some presence of quartz there. The soils are more poor, and you don't have presence of organic material there. So when you take all these differences between both places, of course, the management to each vineyard is completely different. Then, for instance, in the CA1 location, close to the Andes, where you have more organic material, more deep soil, etc., we have to control a lot the vigor of the vineyards there. But in the other side, you need to push the vigor because the soil and the condition are poor. So this is one of the difference there, for instance. Then also in terms of irrigation, for instance, we do around 2 or 3 deep irrigations in the CA1 place, in the CA1 location, Andes. And then in the coast, we do around 1 irrigation every week. Every seven days, we do irrigation there. So something else technical during the vineyard? No, pero en los viñedos.
No, en realidad comentaste casi todo. Yo creo que tanto el suelo, el clima, y sí, con el cambio climático hemos ido adelantando las cosechas, llegando este año a tener casi 2 meses de diferencia.
Okay. It's also important to comment, as Marcelo mentioned it, it's very important to have conscious, to be aware that the global warming is affecting the process of the grape here. So he mentioned it in the last years, we have been picking our grapes early, at least 45 days before we if you compare, we used to do it in the past. Okay, in some points in the past, we did it of um, beginning of May, and you can see here in our harvest 2017 in CA1 we picked our grape in April 11th, and then in the CA2 in the coast side we picked our grape end of March, beginning of April. So also we have big differences between 1 or 2 weeks between both states.
Yo creo que dos de los factores más relevantes con el cambio un poco estilo de Carmenere, que de los tres estilos que hablamos antes, uno es el cambio climático y que te ayuda a una madurez más temprana en sectores que a lo mejor no maduraban anteriormente, y le da a las plantas. Le da a las plantas, son plantas equilibradas, con producciones muy bajas, pero que permiten tener un Carmenere muy interesante.
Okay, for Marcelo, it's important to mention that if we go back to the story of Carmenere and what we are doing today in terms of freshness and acidity, two things are important to mention. One of those is the global warming, of course. It's allowing you in some way to pick the grapes early, but without problems of those green notes that we talked at the beginning with the ripeness. And the second is the 25 years of the vineyards. They finally got the right balance. The vineyards got the right balance to express to express a good aromas, good fruit, it's a good structure, etc. You can find there a lower average per plant, but the expression is at the end is more interesting when you make the wine. Okay. So then if we think about the expression of both wines, unfortunately you don't have the wines with you, but I will try to comment the expression of the wine in the CA1 in the Andes side. We have expression toward a slight green touch with more herbaceous notes, which not means pyracines. Then you also have more big tannins, more round tannins, with a lot of notes of red fruits there. ¿Algo más que expresar de los vinos del CA1?
No, un vino en general un poco por el suelo, solo silloso, tiene en general un poco más de tipicidad de Carmenere en la nariz, pero sin ser notas herbáceas, piracínicas, sino que más especial, sí. Pero una boca muy grasa, muy redonda, que salta muy bien a distintos tipos de maridaje.
Okay, so Marcelo is mentioned that it's almost same as I said in terms of the style of the wine, the tannins, the round tannins, more fatty tannins, etc. With those notes of greenest side, but more to the herbaceous, more than pyracine, as I explained. But this is mainly gave by the style of the soil that we have there. Okay. Then if we move to the CA2, to the coast side, the expression is completely different, of course. The granitic soil give you some salty notes more sandier tannins, small tannins. It's like a more structure, but it's more thin structure. It's not too round, too big. It's more vertical in some way. But the expression also is more lighter, in a good way, with a freshness, highest acidity as well. Marcelo, ¿algo que decir de esa?
No, era lo comentaste todo. O sea, puede tener algunos años algunas notas más florales, un poco el momento de cosecha, pero sí, como comentaste, que acidez, un vino más vertical y con un tanino más arenoso, más presente, por el granito.
He mentioned that sometimes in some seasons, it depends of the year, you can find more floral notes as well there. Then if we think about the aging of the wine, during this process, you can see both have the same process. 14 months in a untoasted foudre, 80% in new and second use French barrels. We moved here from classical barrels to largest one, also looking to express in a better way the typicity and the expression of the grapes. We tried to avoid to cover those notes that are natural of the grapes and the terroir.
Respecto a la madera, mencionar que hasta la cosecha 2015 era 100% barrica de 225 litros. Desde el 2016 adelante se ha ido incluyendo un porcentaje de foudre, entendiendo que esto es una línea muy terroir, donde queremos que se pueda expresar 100% las diferencias y cada día más diferencia entre los dos vinos.
Okay. Until 2015, we only used classical barrels of 225 liters. After that, we start to incorporate the foudre every year, a little bit more percent of foudre, because this line, the focus of this line is the grape and the terroir. So we put down the pressure of the barrels, and we are still working on that, because the mission of Marcelo and for TerraNoble at the end is to do or to show a good wine with freshness, etc. But trying to show in a realistic way the differences between same wine with same vinification, etc. The terroir, it's very important, as I mentioned before. The terroir hunting is a big concept for us, especially in this line.
Esta línea para mí sigue en transición con respecto a las maderas, por generar cada día esa diferencia mayor entre los dos vinos. Con el uso de foudre ya llegando en la cosecha 2018 30%, y en la 19 y 20 que están todavía en la bodega, ya también estamos haciendo ciertas crianzas en tinaja y en huevo, que podría esta línea poco terminar siendo 100% foudre, tinaja, huevo, que es parte de lo que estamos trabajando, entendiendo lo que significa para nosotros esta línea.
Okay. For Marcelo, this wine is in transition. He explained what we are doing with the next vintages. For instance, in 2018, we are using 30% of foudre, and the next one, 2020, which is already, as you know, of course, in our cellar. Probably we are going to use also concrete eggs or amphoras. Marcelo is continuously looking for the best expression of the terroir, of course, trying to keep the style and the elegance of the wines. But it's important to him to let you know that it's it's a continuous process for him. We are not finished this work. We're still looking for the best expression, so that's why we are incorporating different things like concrete eggs, amphoras, actually, foudre. So we have not decided yet which kind of these things we are going to use in the future. So it's open conversation already about this wine.
O sea, yo creo que a mí el Carmenere en TerraNoble, ya llevo 5 años en TerraNoble, me reconquistó un poco estas plantas viejas, inicialmente en Maule, posteriormente en Colchagua. Me hubiera preguntado hace 8 o 10 años cosechar un Carmenere en marzo o usar foudre, te digo, estás loco. Y es parte de este cambio que hemos tenido un poco en Chile, en el estilo, cambio climático, las plantas viejas, de poder buscar vinos más frutales, con más acidez, un Carmenere mucho más entretenido.
Okay. For Marcelo, he said that he fall in love again about Carmenere because today do the balance of the plants, after find good places to grow Carmenere, the global warming, the new things to do inside of the winery is more enjoyable for him. Actually, he mentioned that in the past, before, like 7 years ago, somebody come to him to say, I'm going to use food for Carmenere. He will say, you are crazy, it's not possible. But today, he realized it's possible because the expression of the grapes changed a little bit, because the balance and the global warming and etc. So we can do more funny Carmeneres, with elegance, with different expression, etc. It's very important to understand that the Carmenere is changing a lot in Chile, and TerraNoble is working on that. We are working on the Carmenere just to show to the people around the world that the Carmenere changed, and change in a good way. It's very important. ¿Cómo envejecen estos vinos? ¿Cómo cambian en el tiempo?
O sea, en general, estos vinos van envejeciendo, las cosechas anteriores donde había más madera presente, tenía una buena evolución, una buena estructura, también un buen contenido tanino que permitía una evolución lenta en el tiempo, pero sí donde la madera era el protagonista.
If you go to the past, when the wines or Carmenere was marketed by the barrels or the wood inside, the evolution was well, because at the end the tannins from the barrels can integrate well with the tannin from the wine. So you have a slow evolution and a good one.
En las cosechas nuevas ya el uso del food permite mantener mucho más la fruta en un vino que va a evolucionar siempre con una fruta protagonista, pero también el hecho de tener mejor pH y mejor acidez es un vino que puede permitirte una evolución más larga posteriormente en botella.
Okay, so today you can get more freshness, more fruity side, but at the same time, because the focus of the wine is the fruit, not the barrel. So, but at the same time, you also have a higher pH, higher acidity, so you can keep for longer with you, and the evolution can finish very well as well.
Para mí, en general, el K2 es un vino que siempre va a tener un mayor potencial de guarda por la presencia, primero, una acidez generalmente un poquito mayor y por el tanino. Hay un tanino más presente, un vino más nervioso, más mineral, que permite también que dure más tiempo en botella, a diferencia un poco el K1, que es un vino que está más listo más rápido.
Okay, so for Marcelo, CA1 had the potential to keep it longer with you because the tannin is you have more presence of round tannins. ¿Qué más?
La misma estructura, más acidez en el K2.
No, en el 1.
En el 1 es un vino que evoluciona un poquito más rápido porque es un vino más redondo que está más listo más temprano.
Yeah. So and the CA2, you have like a ready wine. It's you finish, you bottle it, you keep it with you in a bottle, and then the wine it's almost ready to be tasted. But at the same time, you can keep it. I'm answering to Neil about how well do this wine age and how do they change over the time. Okay. I forgot to mention that. ¿Algo que comentar?
¿No?
Okay. So no again. So this is what we are working today. It's very important for the winery to let people know what TerraNoble is today, what we want to do, what we want to show, which is the philosophy of the winery. I think we are in the same page of most of the winery in terms of express more freshness, more fruity side of the wines today. It's like a trend. To be honest, what I see here in Chile is not common today to see the classic wines or the classic Cabernet with a big structure, big tannins, etc. And I think it's a good change. It's my own opinion, of course. It's but I think it's very good for Chile, not only because we are finding new places, new corners in between north and south, also between east and west. We have many places to show to the world. Every year, I can say today, for instance, you have a Montes making wine from Montes wine. Making wine from very south Iceland, which is quite crazy. But this is good for Chile because we are pushing the limit of the winemaking and also fighting with the global warming, which is a very important things that you have to keep in mind all the time, especially for the winemakers. I have another kind of job which is also difficult. It's not easy to sell wine actually, but for the winemakers it's very challenging to make wine in these days around Chile. But as I said, in Chile we're doing very good job, I think, in terms of different things, different places to show, different kind of wine you have. You here have two different Carmeneres. but also you can find two different Cabernet Sauvignon. If you take one from the Andes side of Maipo Valley, it's completely different from the middle of the valley. Vineyards planted in Maipo, or even in Colchagua, etc. So I really appreciate this time to you guys to have 30 minutes to talk with us about what TerraNoble is doing. I think it's important again to show what kind of different things we can do, we can make with the wines, with a grape, and also important to show the evolution of Carmenere. Many people ask me if, do you think that Carmenere is the grape of Chile, like Malbec from Argentina? And I think in Chile we try to put on the top of mind the Carmenere at the beginning, but then we realized that we are more than one grape. We are more than Carmenere. We are more than Carmenere. Today you have País, you have Cinsault from old vines, you have Carignan from old vines. Many things to show and to express. So if you have questions to Marcelo, we will answer happy, and just let us know. And thank you very much for your time this morning in Chile and in your afternoon in UK.
Es importante mencionar que no todos los Carmenere han cambiado este estilo. Sigue existiendo Carmenere con mucha madera, Carmenere muy verde. O sea, yo creo que es parte del nuevo estilo que se está buscando. Yo creo que representa mejor lo que es el Carmenere de Chile. Pero esto va asociado también, hay que darle tiempo. El Carmenere no es una variedad fácil, donde el segundo, tercer año va a tener un Carmenere de este potencial. Por el vigor, el verdor, en general los primeros años hay una mayor concentración de piracinas porque se riega distinto, se fertiliza distinto.
Okay, so Marcelo mentioned that today in Chile you also can find more green Carmeneres, also more opulent Carmenere, or the fruity Carmenere like this one. But it's important to say that for Carmenere, at the beginning of the plantation, the first 2, 3, 4 years, the fertilization is different, the irrigation is different, so that's why you can find more pyracines there. Then after 25 years, the expression, the balance of the plant is completely different, as we talked before. So it's a difficult grape to make wine, but it's also very nice to see how it's getting the best potential, you know, this grape. So.
La pregunta, yo creo que eran parte de los Carmenere usados más como un vino, no mezcla, pero este estilo de Carmenere, con más frutal, más jugoso y con menos notas piracínicas, es más fácil también usar en una posterior mezcla. Pero en general yo veo que en Chile gran parte de los Carmenere van como vinos mayor porcentaje de Carmenere o monovarietal.
Okay, so Richard asked if Carmenere trending as single variety or more used in blends. Marcelo and I agree. We think mainly in Chile people used Carmenere to make a single variety wines, because again this is like the wineries here in Chile try to put Carmenere in the top of mind of people and journalists, etc. But at the end, I think the best expression of Carmenere is with a single variety. You can also use it in a blend, of course. You have characteristic of the grape that can be used in a blend and get great blends. But most of the famous Carmenere from Chile are single vineyard, actually. I can mention Closa Balta or ¿cómo se llama el Camín de Peumo from Conchitoro, etc. So, or even CA, etc.
Can you pour us some, please, Thomas?
Huh?
So can you pour us each a glass, please?
Can you?
Oh, yeah. Thanks for nothing. Are there any other Are there any other questions from anybody? Well, then it just leaves me to say thank you very, very much. That was very, very interesting. And in a country where we've just bottled our very first Carmenere, I'm looking forward to trying yours because I thought it was really lovely. We've got only very, very tiny plantings of it in South Africa, but I think we're getting more of it. So thank you very, very much. Thanks for joining us. Thanks for your time. And I just want to mention that next week, we're jumping over the mountain into Argentina, and we are having a presentation with the famous Argentinian chef Fernando Troca and the winemaker Gabriel Blois, and we are going to be seeing how they make the perfect steak, and also a famous recipe for chimichurri. So to next week is meet your Malbec, and meat is with MEAT. So meet in Malbec next week. If you want to join us, Thomas, you can. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. That's good.